Hello there, how are you? Welcome back to M Talks. If you look at the world today, this Corona, Sri Lankan crisis, Ukraine crisis, crisis in Congo, in Myanmar, in most of the regions, there is conflict, calamity, and crisis. Seems to be the only constant of late. But the interesting thing is that the humankind is supposedly the most resilient species. By nature, inherently, we are supposed to be, you know, taking enough precautions to protect ourselves from all these natural and otherwise calamities or crises. But of late, we have become very dependent. We are looking up or looking out for somebody to help us. The government will help us. Somebody else will help us. I think we've become soft. But if you look at it for the government or for organizations for that matter, they have deep reserves. And for them, certain amount of collateral damage is acceptable. And when we talk about collateral damage, is people like you and I, they can't cover everybody. They can't take care of everybody. So it's upon us to make sure that we protect ourselves and our families and be prepared for any crisis. So that's why we're going to talk about crisis management. Crisis management is something which people have heard in organizations and in countries. There are a lot of people who have been part of the crisis management or emergency management teams. But however, when it comes to themselves, they are so underprepared or even unprepared for crises that hit them. So let's look at what we need to do to protect ourselves and our families when crisis hits us. Because we have to be prepared at any given point in time because uncertainty is the only constant of it, or even otherwise in general. So one of the first things, which is the most important aspect when it comes to protection, life, yeah, our life and lives of the people who love us or our families. So that's the first thing we need to protect. So what we need to do is look at insurance. But generally what we do is when we look at insurance, we think, oh my God, my company has got insurance. I've got cover from my company. I've got cover, group insurance policies and so on and so forth. But the fact remains, one of the crises that hit us is if we were to lose a job or if we have to walk away from a job. Because at that point in time, you lose your insurance cover. So unless you have something personally in your own name, then you are exposed till such time you find another job which comes with a similar amount of insurance cover. Or even otherwise, a group insurance or a company insurance may not necessarily cover all the aspects that's required for you because they're looking at a generic policy which is, from their perspective, less expensive and, how should I say, kind of meets all the legal or statutory requirements. They look at it only from that perspective. So that's one thing we have to be very careful about. Insurance, personal insurance for us and for our family is critical. And, keep it as a backup in case for some reason you have to move on. Keep a backup plan so that you can actually shift onto your personal insurance immediately. Second type of crisis, financial crisis. That's something which can happen anytime, right? And that happens when sometimes you lose a job, you kind of get a loss in a huge project if you are an entrepreneur, and so many different ways you can, run into a financial crisis. And that is, again, one thing that you have to prepare yourself for. Have some investments, have some monies put aside, which are liquid. When I say liquid, you can access them as and when you want without having to go through any paperwork or, any delays whatsoever. Have some liquid money put aside because that's always important. There are times when, for example, if it is a financial crisis involving a natural calamity or a natural crisis, you can't use your credit cards, your debit cards, those things won't work. So you need to have hard cash, something that you can bargain with, something with which you can move on ahead. Third thing is emotional crisis. That is something which I cannot or I don't want to talk about. But all I want to say here is that be prepared that these things do happen. So when they happen, if you have to take a break from your routine, take a break from what you do, your earning cycle, what you need to do, how to prepare for it is what you need to think of. And then there is the other thing, which, God forbid, sometimes, I mean, it should not happen, but sometimes it does. You have to evacuate from your place because of, some hazard, maybe a fire hazard, or maybe the region that you're living in has got some problems, floods, flash floods, tsunamis, whatever you name it. It could be natural, it could be, otherwise. But there is something which means that you have to evacuate where you live. So what do? You need to pick up those valuables because you can't allow them to get destroyed because you accumulate them over a period of time. So identify, put aside a package, which is an emergency evacuation package where you have all your important documents, your passports, your national identification cards, your important cards, your cash, your important jewelry. Keep them always set aside and ready. This is an emergency package that today it becomes extremely critical. God knows when, what will happen. You need to be prepared. See, the idea of talking about this crisis management is to let you know it's important that we as individuals understand the importance of this and start planning for it, because nobody else is going to look after us. Nobody else is going to come to our rescue. Maybe people will, but that's not something you want to, bank on. You want to be prepared yourself. So think about it. Think about all those aspects which you would consider the crisis for yourself and be prepared, for any of these, or all of these eventualities. That's all I wanted to share with you in this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please subscribe. Please like the video. And I do hope to see you soon. Till then, take care, stay safe, stay healthy. Bye for now.